The Aunt and Amabel. This story is taken from Edith Nesbit's book, The Magic World. Amabel is a little girl who is visiting her aunt. To make her aunt happy, Amabel plucks flowers from the greenhouse and sticks them into the ground in front of her aunt's window. When her aunt sees this, she is upset and stops talking to Amabel. In this extract, Amabel is alone in her aunt's bedroom. She is looking for something to read and finds a magical book. Amabel looked round the room for something to read. There was nothing. Only on the large dressing table was a book covered in red velvet, and on it, embroidered in yellow silk, were the letters A, B, C. "Perhaps it's a picture alphabet," said Amabel. She was too old for the alphabet, but she opened the book. "Why, it's only a timetable." She had learned how to use the dictionary, and this looked like the dictionary. She looked up the names of all the places she knew. Brighton, where she had once spent a month, Rugby, where her brother was at school, and home, which was Amberley. And she saw the times when the trains left for these places and wished she could go by those trains. Then Amabel wanted to look for Whitby, and it was then that she saw the extraordinary name, Where You Want to Go To. This was odd, but the name of the station from which the train started was still more extraordinary. It was Big Wardrobe in Spare Room, and below this name, Amabel read in small letters, "Trains leave Big Wardrobe in Spare Room all the time." And under that, in still smaller letters, "You had better go now." Amabel went straight to the big wardrobe and turned its glass handle. It was, most amazingly, a crystal cave very oddly shaped like a railway station. It seemed to be lighted by stars, and over the station clock was a full moon. The clock had no figures, only now in shining letters all rounded, 12 times. A porter in white satin hurried forward to take Amabel's luggage. Her luggage was the ABC, which she still held in her hand.
"Lots of time, miss,"
he said, grinning in a most friendly way.
"I'm glad you are going. You will enjoy yourself. What a nice little girl you are."
This was cheering. Amabel smiled. The train was made entirely of crystal, too, and the cushions were of white satin. There were little buttons such as you have for electric bells, and on them, "What you want to eat," "What you want to drink," "What you want to read" in silver letters. Amabel pressed all the buttons at once, and instantly she saw on the cushion by her side a silver tray with vanilla ice, boiled chicken and white sauce, almonds, peppermint cream, and mashed potato, and a tall glass of lemonade. Beside the tray was a book, and just as Amabel finished the last spoonful of ice and reached the last full stop of the book, the train stopped, and hundreds of railway officials in white velvet shouted,
"Where you want to go to? Get off here!"
A smiling porter opened the door.
"Now, come on out, Miss Amabel, unless you want to go to where you don't want to go to."
She hurried out onto the platform and saw ahead of her a crowd. "What's all that?" she asked the friendly porter.
"It's the mayor, dear Miss Amabel."
The mayor bowed low to her and said, "Welcome, dear Amabel. We know you meant to please your aunt. It's not your fault that you didn't know you should ask permission before you touch other people's things." "Oh, but," said Amabel, quite confused, "I did." But a band started to play and drowned her words. The instruments of the band were all of silver, and the bandsman's clothes of white leather. There was a flower show and a concert. There was also a grand dinner with thousands of guests in Amabel's honor. Soon the shout went up,
"Speech, speech, speech, speech!"
Amabel began. "Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to make a speech. I just want to say thank you and to say To say, she stopped and the happy
Speech,
crowd
speech,
cheered.
Speech, speech.
To say, she went on as the cheers died down, that I should have thought, but I did want to please Auntie. It's all so mixed. Oh, I wish Auntie was here. And instantly Auntie was there. Very tall and quite nice looking in a very elegant dress.
Speech, speech.
Cried the crowd.
Speech from Auntie. Speech from
Auntie stood beside Amabel and said,
I think perhaps I was hasty, and I think Amabel meant to please me. But those flowers were meant for the winter. Well, I was annoyed. I'm sorry.
Oh, Auntie, so am I, cried Amabel, and the two began to hug each other on the ivory step while the crowd cheered. And when it grew late and the stars were out, Amabel fell asleep in her aunt's arms beside a fountain on a marble terrace, where white peacocks came to drink. She awoke on a big bed with her aunt's arms still round her.
Amabel?
She was saying,
Amabel!
Oh, Auntie, said Amabel sleepily. I'm so sorry, but I did mean to please you.
I'm sure you meant to please me. Now come down to supper,
said her aunt and smiled. Amabel looked around for the magical book, but it was nowhere.